All right, so the sauce of the week is gold. You guys are asking some good questions regarding the gold trade, so I decided to make a quick video. It's not going to be one of the longer ones, but if you watch all the other videos and tack this one onto it, it's going to make tons of sense. So gold, we took a nice solid multi-entry trade. We're not talking stacking the trades. We're talking multiple entries in different sessions and times to take advantage of every single retracement possible for gold. So gold entry 1, 325 pips, 2, 300 pips, entry 3, 250. The way it happened is where the learning occurs. So let's go check it out. I gave out an update July the 2nd. This is to the group that you may have not joined yet, and you keep missing out on good, valuable education. You keep missing out on fair prices. You keep missing out on these setups, right? So if you're not in the group, why? Why are you not in the group? Okay, so let's check this out. I gave out these multi-chart breakdown. It's about 8 minutes, so it's a quick and easy watch, or you can just scroll to the chart that you actually give a crap about. Now, gold. When we look at that market, there is no selling in this already bullish market when this thing is just plowing right through. So what I'm saying there, I'm not going to make you watch the whole part, but what I'm saying is you have to be careful about the way you sell. The way we confirm entry, even if you don't know how to do that to the best of your ability, you can start with simply letting the candles create. It's a powerful weapon that you can use to allow the market to tip you off as to what direction it is heading in, at least for the short term. So what we were looking for was through the areas of interest. The sell already happened. So the market is going to, it can bounce around as much as it wants. Does not matter to me. All I need is for the market to hold under these prices for me to then sell again. Right now, this thing is going very crazy. If you think about it. All right, so at the point that I gave out this setup, this thing was very bullish. And like I've told you in other videos, people's inclination when they see something very one-sided is to do that. It's a mistake. You have to read the market for what it is. You can't just work out one little section of the market and do what you want to do in the market based on that little bit of information. Read the whole thing, right? So this on a higher frame was showing bearish. The key was, were we going to hold within these prices, or were we going to have to target a little higher? So my plan was to simply, very simply, wait for candle creation. Now visually, I want you to remember some things. The zone, the blue line, the fact that we are very bullish, and this is an H4 chart. Now let's go check it out. All right, so this is it. This is gold. This is gold from the whole week, basically the whole playout. Now, like I said, H4. When you last saw that update video, we were up here. Now let's zoom in here real quick. Notice the market was very bullish, and while that video was playing, what was happening? The market was just kind of bouncing around within this H4 candle. What happened afterwards? We had a nice bear. Let's call it. Let's keep it simple. Let's not get into candle reading and all that. We got a nice close within the zone that we deemed important to stay within for bearish power to ensue, right? For us to confirm that it was at least halfway probable for this thing to go bearish. We're not going to get into entry confirmation. We're not going to get into more complex things. We're going to get into the things that we can actually control as traders. What do we see on the chart, and is it coinciding with the plan that we've set forth? So we wanted to stay within zone. All right, so we stay within the zone. We know we want to sell. You guys have heard this from me in other videos and on Instagram stories. If you're watching this on YouTube, add me on Instagram stories. I'm consistently giving out content at Gustavo Zaps. Go on there, turn on notifications, do what you got to do to stay tuned in. So we're within zone and we're ready to sell, right? We're going to hit that lower frame real quick to see the noise of the market and allow us to see the story of things. Now, when we look at the way this worked out, we are within this area and the market first drops, okay? Now, you guys have seen this before. I think in the last Euro NZD video for like 350 pips multiple entries, I did the same thing. It's working the market structurally. So the market creates a small consolidation and breaks apart. So let's say you didn't take that entry, right? You weren't confident in taking that entry after a 9-hour stall within the zone and after we've already called out for a sell. You know, market drops for about 130 pips. So the first thing that I say in the group when that happens is, let's scroll. All right, so let's scroll a little bit. All right, so gold 60 pips up, blah, blah, blah. The whole time I'm reminding everybody, look, the market is still very bullish. You cannot just let it fly because you feel that it has to correct. What people think is, okay, we're here, right? So it has to correct everything. It has to happen. No, it doesn't. It does not have to happen. It is not cemented in stone. You just want it to happen. There's a difference. So we have to read the market as those candles create to let us know whether or not we are correct about what we're doing in that moment. So market at that point was up 130 pips. We were obviously bearish, but the long-term play for gold has been bullish, right? We've been just skyrocketing on gold. So what I did was I skimmed out my entry and I told them, look, if it breaks the trend line, any trend line that you drew on top of that market, you have to let it go. And what it means is this, right? So if the market was, let's say, like that, all right, you had a trend line like that, let's just say, right, without a second touch, which is an invalid trend line. But if you had that, you had to let it go. If you had it the way I drew it, which is like so, you had to let it go, right? There was no way that you could justify holding this when it couldn't even hold this micro high. Yeah, eventually the market did drop another 92 pips, but technically speaking, if you got in from here, it only dropped another 20 to 22 pips for you before it went right back up to where it started. Now, this is what we were worried about. This is what I wanted people to pay attention to. If we broke apart the trend line, whether you drew it this way, I don't care. Whether you drew a high, you were going to retest the important part of this market, the actual macro part, the one that held the power here. You were going to retest it. And if you were somebody who was selling, you were going to get destroyed before the actual bigger move. So, did I know it was going to drop this way? No, I did not know. But I knew that in order to drop this way, we needed to go and test these high prices. It needed to happen. That's market structure. That's market 101. So what we did is we held this entry. We skimmed it down, which should have happened anyways. If you got in from this lower high, cool. But when this market starts coming back, you have to TP yourself, and then you have to wait for confirmation by reaching those high prices again. It reaches the high price, and I got in for a wick entry, which took a little bit of balls, right? But this entry right here, this third entry, entry one, easy pickings. Look at that nice consolidation, that nice stall, easy money. That's easy. This one right here is nothing. This one right here, a little bit more saucy, right? This one right here, a little bit more sniped. This one right here, right? We're going to go to an M15, which I rarely do, but I'm just going to do it anyways. This one right here is the sauce, okay? This trade right here. If I go and I look at the way it worked out, the market literally retraces back up in microstructure and just holds there, right? Once it did that hour candle swap, once it did this, here, I'm in there like swimwear. There's no way I'm not taking that trade. Because what I'm seeing is not only a respect of the high that mattered in the first place, but I'm also seeing a respect of this baby high that we used before. I'm seeing that this whole seller zone, the seller zone is not this one or this one. That's just a good eye. The seller zone is actually this whole freaking thing, right? This whole 150 pip area, that's one big seller area. From there, you have to confirm, like, where do you want to get in if this makes sense to you? So obviously then the market was holding a low, and we get that nice solid drop. Now, currently these trades we had some retracement, which is to be expected because this was news related and there's a ton of buyer support all over this place, right? Because if we go to that H4, as you can see, we've been very, very bullish. So you have to expect some kind of struggle on the way down. Going against the trend takes more care. That's why we allow the market to create. I want to make it a point in this video to show that the market is not fast. Look how many times this market stalls out. This here to here, you have a nice strong stall. Here to here, you have a nice strong stall. And even here, you have about 4 hours, 5 hours. That's why I say freedom, right? Here's freedom, where you're living your life for 9 hours and you're able to get into this market. Boom. Here's freedom, where you're living your life for 16 hours and you're able to get into this market. Boom, even here to here is 73 pips. That's a solid trade. That is a solid trade. Here, 5 hours. You're at the gym, you're getting breakfast, whatever, boom, there you go. So the point of this video is, and again, to every video, is keep it simple. Start with the simple things. Stop worrying about everything else. That I know some of you guys know the other tricks that I have when it comes to trading. I know you guys know about my fib work, and I understand what you guys ask me. But the reason I keep it simple is because this is where you have to begin. And honestly, this is a huge part of my trading and a huge part of what I teach students and a huge part of what we do in the group. It is important to know your foundation. This is not something that you're going to drop. You have to know this. The moment you look at a chart, you see it immediately. Just like that Euro NZD last video, just like gold, previous trades, GBP, JPY, GBP, CAD, your eye has to be sharp. You have to be able to see those trends. You have to be able to see the market creation for what it is, not for what you want. Which most of you, whenever I actually see your trades, like you post them online, we know what's going on there, right? We know why you're struggling. You're struggling because you're not seeing the market for what it is. You're seeing the market for what you desire, and you'll figure out a way to lie to yourself and get yourself in there over leveraged, which means you're gonna kill yourself double time. So make sure that you're looking for these lower highs when you want to sell. Make sure that you never forget that this is just noise. You want to go to a higher frame and really see those key zones. And that's it. This was a quick little trading video for you guys. If you're not in the group, I don't know what you're doing. If you're watching on Instagram, but you're missing out on the stories because you're watching me every other day, I don't know what you're doing. If you're paying people to do this for you and they keep taking money from you, I don't know what you're doing, and you kind of deserve it. And that's that. Give this 2 years, give this a year, give this 6 months, give this more time than you've given anything else in your life, and it will reward you. One way or another, inevitably, it will reward you. If you quit, you're screwed. If you've already been trading and you feel like quitting and you don't know where to turn, contact me. If you feel like quitting and you don't know where to turn and you don't have the means to get into a group or get coaching, don't quit. Keep trading. Watch content. Try things. Try to learn from your mistakes. Quitting makes no sense. You've already been through the hardest part, which is the beginning. Never quit. Always go forward. Happy trading.